The sun was shining bright over Silver Lake. The water looked like a mirror showing a perfect summer morning. Ethan Caldwell stood on his wooden dock with coffee in his hand, enjoying the quiet he'd worked for years to find. He'd bought this little house, this lake, his very own lake for times just like this. After a really hard job in the big city, he'd spent every penny and wish on this peaceful place. The papers were clear. Silver Lake, the bottom, the land around it, all his, but being peaceful. As Ethan was about to find out costs, the trouble started with faraway sounds of motors, then voices angry and mean. Ethan put his coffee cup down. His stomach felt tight with worry. Trouble always shows up being loud, doesn't it? He walked slowly up the dirt path from his dock through the pine trees he'd been super careful to keep when building his little house at the edge of his land. 2 police cars sat there, their flashing lights off, but just being there felt scary next to them. Stood Lorraine, the boss of the Lake Haven Estates HOA. Her face looked happy, like a sneaky fox near chickens. She pointed a fancy fingernail at Ethan's house. "That's the one, officers," she said, her voice cutting through the air. "He's been having crazy loud parties. And that wooden dock against the rules, he's keeping our lake all to himself." Ethan couldn't believe it. Parties he lived by himself. His craziest night was reading a book after midnight. His doc had all the right papers he got through months of forms and money. The officers walked over, one with a big mustache, the other looking like he wished he was somewhere else. Sir Mustache said, "We've gotten complaints about loud noise and a dock built without permission." Lorraine's mean smile got bigger, like a hunter smelling victory. Ethan's stomach felt sick, not from being scared, but from realizing he had a big fight. He didn't want morning officers, he said, trying to stay calm. "There's been a mix-up. It's always quiet here, always has been. My doc has all the right papers. They're inside my house." Lorraine made a rude sound. "He's making lots of noise and breaking lake rules." Ethan put up his hand. "Lorraine, your HOA rules don't work here. This lake, this land, it's mine. Not part of Lake Haven Estates." Her eyes got really narrow, like tiny slits. "That's crazy. This is our neighborhood lake." The officers moved around, clearly wishing they hadn't come. Ethan didn't back down. "I own Silver Lake, the whole thing. Deeds, maps, county papers all have my name." The tired officer blinked hard. Mustache rubbed his chin. Lorraine turned an angry purple color. "Nobody owns a whole lake," she spit out. Ethan looked right back at her angry stare. "I do. And that patrol boat, you've seen mine too, for keeping the lake safe." The officers looked at each other. This wasn't the simple noise complaint they thought they'd get. Ethan went and got his big folder thick with deeds, maps, and permits. He spread a map across his truck's front, tracing the lines that showed he owned everything. Mustache looked at it, nodding slowly. "These look real," he said. Lorraine's mouth fell open. "This is terrible. We have neighborhood access." Ethan kept his voice calm. "You have small rights for swimming and little boats in one specific spot, that's it." The officers, now feeling confused, told Lorraine this was something for lawyers, not police. They left, leaving her really mad, and Ethan getting ready for the next attack. Ethan hadn't just stumbled onto Silver Lake by accident. He'd spent years at a job in the city that made him miserable, dreaming of quiet. His friend Nate, a really smart guy who tells the truth, had found the house for sale. "Ethan, this is your chance," he'd said. "It's big private, might be too much, but you wanted to get away." The lake was part of an old rich family's land, privately owned since the 1800s. Buying it used up all Ethan's money, but signing the papers felt like getting freedom. He built the house small, matching with the trees, every nail a step toward peace. Nate helped on weekends, and they'd sit by the water when the sun went down, the world just crickets and stars. "You did it, man," Nate said, once smiling big, "your own private paradise." Lake Haven Estates on the lake's east side was new, a bunch of houses with a small shared beach and a wobbly dock. Their papers said they could use the lake a little, which Ethan didn't care about. He just wanted to be alone, but Lorraine getting elected as HOA boss changed everything. Whispers from local workers painted her as someone who wants to control everything, and soon Ethan felt her watching him. First came letters his wild ferns weren't allowed. His red canoe messed up the pretty. "Look," he wrote back nicely, attaching maps showing his land wasn't part of her HOA. He thought she'd get tired of it. He was wrong. Lorraine wasn't just someone who meddles. She was a mean person who saw Ethan's lake as her kingdom. Nate warned him. People like her don't stop when they're wrong. They get worse when Lorraine called the police. Ethan realized this wasn't about silly rules anymore. It was about power days after the police came. Letters from the HOA's lawyer showed up demanding access and saying people had always used it. They sent a bill for lake care. Ethan had never said yes to Lorraine, got residents all worked up, spreading lies about Ethan stealing their lake. His neighbor Walt, a weird old retired guy with a crazy garden and a straw hat, became Ethan's spy. She's saying you'll empty the lake to build a shopping mall. Walt laughed, but Ethan's peace was going away. Eyes watched him from across the water. His safe place felt like a war zone. Ethan hired a lawyer, Mr. Grayson, a guy who knew all about property. Your ownership papers are super strong, Grayson said, but Lorraine loves making trouble. The tension got worse when Lorraine held a loud rally with a megaphone complaining about Ethan's greedy ownership. He tried to ignore it, but the constant pressure made him tired. Then came the really bad news. Grayson called voice worried the HOAs, saying Silver Lake was a public waterway 100 years ago. Never really made private. They wanted it declared public property run by them. Ethan's heart dropped. Public property meant his ownership was fake. His dream was pretend. Can they do this? He asked. Grayson sighed. It's probably won't work, but it's mean it'll cost you time and money to fight, and it makes your ownership look bad. Lorraine's move was pure meanness, designed to break Ethan through fear and cost. Nate was really mad. Public property next. She'll say your house is a secret gambling place, but Ethan's careful side took over. Fear was useless. He needed facts. Grayson explained the plan. Dig into county old papers to prove the claim wrong. It would be really hard, like finding a needle in a huge pile of old crumbly papers. Walt whittling on Ethan's porch shared old guy wisdom. Old man who owned this place fought. The county over a road once beat them. Some people just hate seeing you happy. The thought of losing his lake kept Ethan awake, his dream now a big question mark. Desperate, Ethan thought about giving in, maybe letting the HOA use more of the lake. To end the fight, but giving up felt like betraying himself. Grayson told him to fight. Giving up now's a mistake. Her claims are weak, but it's a war to see who gets tired first. Then he offered another way. Go attack back. You own the lake, Ethan. You've been a good neighbor, but maybe it's time to show them what private property means. Nate agreed. You're not a pushover. She's betting you'll give up. Show her the Ethan who doesn't back down. Walt, looking at the HOAs falling apart. Doc added, make. It's super clear what's yours? No confusion. Ethan made his choice. Let's do it, he told Grayson. Let's end this. They started a 3-part attack. First, they sent every Lake Haven resident a letter with Ethan's deeds and map, explaining his ownership and their tiny rights. The response was crazy. Lorraine's story of a neighborhood lake fell apart. Second, Ethan hired local people to put up signs, private property. Silver Lake owned by Caldwell, no trespassing. They put them all around the shore and floated on buoys marking his territory. Most controversially, Ethan took away the HOA's dock extensions and boat ramp which were on his water. A crane lifted the pieces, stacking them neatly on HOA land. Lorraine screamed threats, but Ethan stood strong, watching from his dock. The final move was boat patrols. Ethan's maintenance boat became a symbol, driving around the lake to enforce boundaries. He was polite but firm. Redirecting lost HOA boats, Lorraine called the sheriff, but Grayson was ready with paperwork. The deputies left, confirming Ethan's rights. The lake got quiet, but it was a scary silence. Lorraine was planning something. Then came her dirtiest move, flyers stuck everywhere with a blurry photo of Ethan Lake bully exposed. They screamed, accusing him of lying. Environmental damage and a shady past. Lies twisted a failed business try into a scandal hinting at stolen money. Ethan's blood went cold. This wasn't about the lake, it was personal, a try to ruin him. Walt brought a flyer looking serious. She's fighting really dirty now. Grayson called it lies. You can sue for, but takes time. The damage happened right away. Reporters called, online chat rooms buzzed, and the county sent people to check out crazy complaints. Ethan's careful nature kicked in. Nate told him to fight publicly. Use your papers, hit her head on, Grayson suggested. Speaking at the HOA's next meeting, a right Ethan had under their rules. Lorraine would hate it, but she couldn't stop him. The meeting was electric. The clubhouse packed. Lorraine, surrounded by her board, glared as Ethan walked to the front, a folder. Of proof in hand, good evening, he began. Voice steady, I'm Ethan Caldwell, owner of Silver Lake. He explained his ownership history, proved Lorraine's claims wrong, and talked about the flyer lies, point by point, bank records, nature reports, business papers. The room changed. Whispers turned to quiet sounds of doubt. Lorraine tried to interrupt, but residents demanded Ethan keep going. When he finished, an older man stood. Ms. Lorraine, is any of this untrue? Did you write that flyer? Her stuttering answer, weak and dodgy, sealed her fate. Chaos happened, but it targeted Lorraine. Her lies fell apart under Ethan's truth within days. Lorraine quit her house soon for sale. The new HOA leader said, sorry, agreeing to respect Ethan's rights. The signs came down, replaced by small markers. Ethan allowed a new following rules HOA dock. A nice gesture. Silver Lake was quiet again. Truly, his Walt still dropped by with gourds spinning tales of ghost fish. Nate joked about a book deal. Ethan just wanted his piece won through a fight that exposed a bully and started a firestorm. Lorraine's defeat was a warning: some boundaries once crossed, unleash a force you can't